everyone, I'm Maria Jennifer from Team Impact. Today we have our esteemed guest, Mr. Marshall John, who is working as a Senior Director HR at Integrate. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Yes, sir. It's a great pleasure to have you on this session. Let me dive into the questions. I was going through your profile and I was curious, how was your ideal working look like?
Well, being in the HR function, it's quite dynamic. Sometimes there could be like quick issues or something which we really need to pay immediate attention because anything to do with people is kind sensitive, so we may need to do it. But otherwise, it's pretty calendarized schedule, and we have a year-wise, month-wise calendar that's broken, and accordingly, we have a schedule of events, meetings, rosters, things like that. So it's a pretty planned day, I would say. Colors.
That's nice. We'll go to the next question. What inspired you to take this path as a career path?
So many interesting questions. So I kind of did my undergraduation thinking that I'm going to become a CA, something in the accounting space with my commerce degree. But there is that I realized there was a deep passion in mine to really have a great zeal to work for people, understand people, and I think that kind of, we part of it, why am I not to this line? So then I was like checking with a couple of my seniors and my friends, and, they were telling me about a course like this 2 Aces for HR and working with people. Then I jumped right in. Here I have to credit for years supposed to. So really enjoy each and every day because each and every person is very unique. Right? Sure, it's not the same with any other function, I would say. Because all the other things, your codings, all that might get a little monotonous. But I think dealing with people is every day is very different. Each one is a very unique person. So that kind of made me to care this.
True, sir. Dealing with people requires a separate skill set for that. And consider wonderful that is loving what we get. So, sir, you have a varied experience looking at grocery and on it. And what are some of the biggest life lessons that you learned along the way?
I think one important is, never underestimate anyone, right? Never judge a book by its cover because each one is so talented. So I think one of the unique lessons is really how to unravel that, right? So the person who might seem like, not so good for, they've really gone on to surprise ourselves by giving the best productivity, giving some really, cutting edge solutions. So it's how you break that, giving them opportunity of setting them up for success. I think that's been a real key that has inspired.
That's a unique lesson. Apart from the many injuries as interviewed, like not being judgmental and just recognizing each and everyone's unique talent is something that we have to be in my business.
But it's not just with me, but I definitely work with a lot of my, my business heads and engineering heads to make this happen. But believe me, it's a great satisfaction at the end of the day. It's like, when you see your baby growing to become, someone so successful, and I think that joy has no bounds. Like in the same way, when you see someone whom you put seeds for, develop into really, great performers and great innovators, I think that's something amazing, that experience and the choice.
So the way you share your words, I can see how passionate and how enjoying you are about your career. So you're dealing with people and you started as a CA, like the idea of becoming a CA, having gotten toward a chat, because you like dealing with people. But transitioning from that, you would have obviously faced difficulties and obstacles in the beginning phase. And now we've overcome them. So what were the obstacles that you generally face and how did you overcome them?
I think that's really a great question. So I was like fortunate enough to really start up with some really good companies at the early stage. I started out with Ford and then went on with Mighty and all that. But in all that, little bit I realized, sometimes there could be turbulence where the market goes down. It might be difficult, a situation where positions may not exist for your roles and all that. So it did happen to me that, I had lost my job in between. But I think what I realized from that learning is that you really have to invest on yourself, right? Forget about the the brahms or the needs, but I think what you're individually worth for, bring it to the core, right? So I think that really made me realize to work on myself, my own skills. Be it could be my presentation skills, could be my analytical skills, or could be my networking skills, be it everything, right? So I really brought my act together, and then brought my A game, and that really has helped me to really ensure that I really right on track, and that obstacle helped me to make sure that I'm always, make some time for learning, like this 80-20 principle, right? So even though the 20% time that you take for sharpening will give 80% of the results, I think it should be very good. That's not my obstacle learning lesson.
I love the 80-20 principle, sir. And you're absolutely right. Investing in oneself is the best investment one would ever pay. And my last question is, what advice would you give to younger individuals who would wish to pursue the same as in your career path?
I think the current generation is hugely talented. So I think they're very, very intelligent. So my words of advice would be just, be fearless, and, try to break new heights, scale even greater heights, and always set a higher benchmark for yourself. They always say, right? Aim at the skies, at least you'll fall on the treetop, right? Such should be your aspiration. Don't really, set for anything less. So always, I think, with the kind of information, with the kind of technology, tools, and expertise the current generation has, I think I would say that, just soar high is what I would say. So keep your goals audacious, is what I would say.
Thank you, sir. The advice is really encouraging and something that pushes the aspirant to a goal. Thank you for such an inspiring session. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. Thank
Thank you. It was my pleasure talking. Thank you.